Martin Lappin here of HeatMasterSS, and we will be cleaning this G4000 out today. And how long it actually takes is wholly dependent on whether or not you are doing your job during the burn season. I can tell you from experience that if you let the ash cover the bottom holes, them side panels will start to fill up with creosote. If you let the ash really build up, I've seen it almost plug the top row of holes too. That's going to take considerably longer to get clean. So again, how well you do your job while you're using it is going to affect how long it takes you to clean it when you're done with it. And I already got that side out. Just a little bit of hard creosote in the bottom. And when it's cold, it almost shatters like glass. If you try doing this while the stove's still warm because you just shut it off, it's going to be a really sticky mess. I usually just wait till they're cold. And the supplied ash tool, this is actually for my 7000. That's how I break the side panels loose. Give them a hard wrap. That creosote will let go. And during the season, I also use that same tool to keep the door flange scraped. If you keep that clean as possible, the water can run away from the seal instead of down the front of the stove. And basically, I just start in the top, and if you start the fan, it'll suck some of that ash out so you're not eating it as well. Now I have since removed the other panel. It's a little bit of scraping. And what you really want to look out for is near the bottom, because your ash and creosote are going to mix. You want to get that scraped off the best you can, because if you've ever seen like how to make your own homemade soap, it takes lye to make homemade soap, and to make lye, everything I've seen, it's wood ash and water, and we all know lye is very caustic, so you don't want to leave any ash in. Even it can harm even the 409 stainless if there's a big enough buildup of it. And what I do, I don't have one of them expensive ash vacs. I just take my big old Craftsman shop vac and put a drywall filter in it, so you don't plug the air filter constantly. Okay, we done cleaned the refractory out with the shop vac. And there's two things I probably should have mentioned when I did the running a G series. Is the first one, if you remove this plug while it's hot, I would suggest using a welder's mitt. Don't take it out and set it on the ground or in the snow or on something cold. Could spoil the concrete, which is what it is. It's refractory cement. I do it, I set it right over here, all the way, then clean it up. And secondly, always make sure this curved piece is all the way in the corner. If I can ever get it back in. A slight trick to this. It does come out. It's easiest to do it right here. Tip it up so the longest part is towards the refractory. Then slide it up tight in the corner. Because I have had one where they dislodged it somehow, and it was actually out here. You couldn't even see the hole. That was packed full of ash behind it, and of course it started packing everything else full of ash, and it wasn't a good time. So, all the way back. And next we will get the supplied ash tool and clean that out. Now, do not try to scrape the ash off these insulation boards. Actually, if you leave it on, it's a better insulator yet, and it'll save some wear and tear on the board. It's not hurting a thing leaving it on there. I mean, it's not hard to remove, but on your hand, you don't need to. Just leave it alone. It'll help protect the board a little. So here we are at the back of the stove. And this is a 2020 model. There's still not much difference between whether and how the door comes off. Just under your model, make sure you actually unplug both plugs before trying to remove it. And all we did here was just took the end of the shop vac, literally just sucked the ash and crud off there, and it's shiny again. Reach behind here and there with the scraper, of course. And that's pretty straightforward as far as cleaning goes. You might find some harder stuff like this under the ash. And what that is, I think on cold starts, that's a little bit of creosote forming. And then once you're actually up and running, it just bakes it the rest of the season. It's not your typical creosote that's really a pain to get off. And here we are with the back cover. As long as you're not having creosote issues and your stove's running right, these fans are not hard to clean at all. I usually 120 psi air through air wand gets them clean enough. Because what you do not want is creosote starting to build up on them, because then when it cools, it all runs to one side and hardens, and that throws your fan out of balance, which is going to eat your bearings. On the actual O2 sensor, I just put the wand of the shop vac over it and suck any dust off I can, but I do not physically try to clean them until I hear otherwise. I'm not going to try to clean them. They're heated anyway, so they pretty much keep themselves burned off. This has been Martin Lappin for HeatMasterSS.